So guys, today we are going to start the 9th chapter, the breathing system. You have already learned about the breathing system in O levels. This is exactly the same topics, nothing more, nothing less, maybe a little bit more, right? First of all, let's learn about the diagram of the breathing system. Okay guys, look here. This is our breathing system, right? We'll draw more structures when we'll move forward, right? First of all, you guys know that this over here, this is nose, right? This over here, this is mouth. This over here, this is called as larynx. Larynx is also called as voice box, and it is also referred as Adam's apple. Now we can understand it is called as larynx because in the larynx there are vocal cords are present. The question is, what is the meaning of vocal cords? Now, in a guitar, the strings are called what? Chords, right? We strike them, they vibrate, right? And when they vibrate, then the sound is produced. Same way in our larynx, there are membranes are present. Right now I am speaking to you guys, right? And sound is coming. And the words are also coming towards you, which you can understand, right? So there is role of the membranes present in my larynx which are vibrating. They are just producing sound. But how the words are being produced, that is with the help of tongue. Whenever I am speaking, my tongue is moving up and down, right? So it is letting some of the frequency to pass and stopping some of it, right? So the words are being made. Vocal cords do not make words. They only produce sound. Understand? Now, as the voice is being produced over here, that's called voice box. But the question is, why this is called as Adam's apple? Now, right now, all of you guys are about near to the age of 18, right? Now, about 2-3 years ago, this bone over here, this was not bone, this was cartilage. In your body, it has changed into bone or it is in the process of changing into bone. Now, when a kid is little, like you see less than 10 years of age, if you see you hear a phone call from, you call someone, right? And on the other hand, there is a kid. By listening to the voice of the kid, you cannot differentiate whether it is a girl or a boy, right? Because at that time, the secondary sexual characters have not developed, right? And the change in the frequency of the voices has not occurred. At that time, this bone, you see, which is right now in my body it is bone, in your body it is bone right now. It was cartilage, and it is cartilage in that age, right? But later on, this cartilage is replaced by bone. There is a whole process you will learn in the medical school, how a cartilage changes into a bone. It's not in your syllabus, right? Now this bone, it is the shape of an apple. If I draw this bone, This bone is the shape of an apple. As it is the shape of an apple, and the first person in this world was Adam, peace be upon him, right? Hazrat Adam alayhi salam. So that's why this is called as an Adam's apple. Got it now? Why it is called Adam's apple. Now guys, next thing, that this over here, this is called as epiglottis. Epiglottis is the covering on the trachea, on the larynx, so that when you are eating or drinking, nothing should go inside the trachea, right? Does it ever go? Barely. When you are talking and eating at the same time, sometimes it happens, right? At that time you start to feel choked, but it never happens. Now let me tell you an interesting fact, boys. Please pay attention towards my larynx. It's visible in me, right? I'm an old man. Now when I will swallow, you will see that my larynx will go up. It shows that epiglottis does not come down, larynx goes up. Look here, pay attention. Did it go up? So what happens that this over here, this is the epiglottis and this is what? This is the larynx. So it goes and attached like this. And the food or the bolus slides into the esophagus, right? So just behind this trachea, this is what? This is esophagus. Understood, everyone? So just behind the trachea, there is esophagus. And the epiglottis does not move down. It may be pressed down by the bolus, but basically what happens? The larynx goes up whenever we swallow. Got it? Here I have a question. Who will answer? What is the name of this area over here? I said area, not an organ. The common area for the opening of the esophagus and trachea, what is it called? Yes, Ibrahim. Very good. It is called pharynx. So your throat area, what is it called? Pharynx. Understood, everyone? Now, after that, boys, after the larynx, this is your trachea, which in simple words is called as windpipe, right? Now, trachea is a tube from which the air goes inside. Now, inside the trachea over here, there are C-shaped cartilage rings. Now, I have taught you before as well that cartilage is not a bone. Remember that or not, boys? Cartilage is not a bone. Understand? People, the layman people, they call it as soft bone. Like you see this pinna, right? Ear, the pinna of the ear. It is not bone. It's a separate structure. Got it? So what are these? These are C-shaped cartilage rings. Now the question is, what is the job of these C-shaped cartilage rings in the trachea? Now these C-shaped cartilage rings, they are also present in the bronchi. Now trachea divides into two tubes. Why do the trachea divide into two tubes? Because there are two lungs, right? Both tubes, they are called as bronchi. Singular is called as bronchus. Let's label this. These both, these are called as bronchi, and singular is called as bronchus. Now, when the pressure becomes low in a tube, it can collapse. Now let me give you one simple example. When you are drinking some drink with the help of a straw, and you suck, right, and the pressure is low at the bottom, right, does the straw becomes collapsed or not? Right? Because its walls are not hard. Over here, in the trachea, there are smooth muscles are present, not skeletal muscles. Remember, boys, remember, this is for rest of your life. Only with our bones, skeletal muscles are attached. Rest of our whole body, whole organs, they are always made up of what? Smooth muscles. There are three types of muscles. Smooth muscles, skeletal muscles, and cardiac muscles. About the cardiac muscles, we talked about, you see about that chapter, you see about that topic last year, in the last chapter, right? So over here there are smooth muscles. They cannot contract and relax with as, you see, strength as compared to the skeletal muscles or the cardiac muscles. They can barely contract and relax because they don't have that much, you see, their physiology does not allow them and anatomy does not allow them. So that's why these C-shaped cartilage rings, they help in keeping the trachea and bronchi open. Understand? They do not let the trachea to collapse. They keep it open. Next step wise, which is very, very important, we will talk about the bronchioles later. You guys know, in the last chapter I taught you, whenever we label a human organ or organ system, we always label them according to our own body position, right? When we label the heart, this was the right side, this was the left side, right? When I am going to label the breathing system, this will be the right lung and this one will be the left lung. Understood? So this over here, this is the right lung. And this over here, left lung. Now, right lung has 3 lobes. You know that lungs, they expand. They get inflated, right? Something can get inflated if there is some, you see, folding or something over there. So over here, the lungs are folded. So they are divided into 3 lobes. This one over here, this is called as superior lobe. This one will be called inferior lobe. And this one over here, this is called as median lobe. Understood, everyone? While the left lung is divided into only 2 lobes, right? Simply this one is called as superior lobe and this one will be the inferior lobe. Understood, everyone? Now, if you guys pay attention, I made a dent over here in the left lung. I did not do it by mistake. I made it intentionally because it is there. Right? Now, this dent over here, this is called as hilum. From the O levels, do you guys remember any word related to this in the seeds?
Yes.
Hilus. Remember? The seeds also have a dent area. That is called as hilus, right? So this over here, it is called as hilum. Now question is why the hilum is present in the left lung. Can you guys imagine? Easy. Heart. If you guys remember, we learned that the heart, its apex, remember? I told you that this is called as apex of heart. This is called as base of heart, right? So the apex of heart is towards the left side, right? I told you guys that heart is present in the middle of the chest, not in towards the left side. Only the apex is towards the left side, right? So to give space to the heart, this hilum is present over here.
Some people have it faced to the
Yes.
so
That is a very rare chance, right? That some people, they are right, you see their heart is towards right. It doesn't mean that the heart is present on the right side. Apex is towards the right side. Understood? Next thing guys, very important, that when each bronchus enters into the lungs, this each bronchus divides into bronchioles. Each bronchus, when it enters into the lungs, it divides into the bronchioles. Yes.
So if the heart's apex is towards the right side, so like with
No,
the left.
no.
No, it would have the other.
Yes. That's why those people who have the heart towards the right side with its apex, that does not perform well in some times. Right? Now, so when you see this bronchus enters into the bronchiole, into the lungs, it divides into bronchioles. Now, first, why is this? This is called as primary bronchiole. It's not mentioned in your book, so I'm not labeling over here, but I'm telling you, right? So the first bronchioles formed are called primary bronchioles. Primary bronchioles will branch to form what? Secondary bronchioles. Secondary bronchioles will branch to form tertiary bronchioles. Look here, I have made branches or not wide, right? Further branches and branches I have made. So the bronchiole, when it will divide right away, first branching will be called primary bronchioles. Primary bronchioles will further divide to form secondary. Secondary will further divide to form tertiary. Tertiary will further divide to form terminal bronchioles. They will divide to form terminal. Terminal means last ones. And eventually the terminal bronchioles will end at alveolar bronchioles. Let me write down over here. First, there are primary bronchioles, then secondary bronchioles, then tertiary bronchioles, then terminal bronchioles, and terminal bronchioles end at alveolar bronchioles. Now question is, what's the difference between a terminal bronchiole and alveolar bronchiole? An alveolar bronchiole will have an alveolus attached with it on its end. Understood? So any bronchiole with which alveoli or alveolus is attached, that will be called as an alveolar bronchiole. That will be called an alveolar bronchiole. Now guys, so let me label that these are alveoli and singular is called as alveolus. Now let me tell you something interesting. That these C-shaped cartilage rings, they are also present in primary, secondary and tertiary bronchioles. They are also present in primary, secondary and tertiary bronchioles. So cartilages, the C shape, they are also present primary, secondary and tertiary. but they are not present in terminal and alveolar bronchioles. Understood? Next thing wise, these alveoli, this is the place where what happens? Exchange of gases takes place. This is the place where exchange of gases takes place. We learn about the structure of the alveoli in detail. But first we are going to learn something else which you have not learned before. Now boys, around the lungs, there is a membrane present. Now I am drawing that membrane with the green color. Around both lungs, separately, these membranes are present. Does anyone know the name of this membrane? Very good. This membrane is called as pleural membrane. Now guys, in between the pleural membrane and the lungs, over here, a liquid is present. I am showing it with the help of dots. So over here, a liquid is present. Another thing came into my mind, I forgot to tell you guys during the heart anatomy. No problem, I'll tell you now. So guys, over here, this liquid is called as pleural fluid. Now the job of this pleural fluid is to decrease the friction. You know, inside our body, the lungs, they are inflating and deflating. I am not using the word contracting and relaxing. Lungs cannot contract and relax periodically. And you see, it's period. Categorically, I am telling you guys that lungs cannot contract and relax. They can inflate like a balloon. They can deflate like a balloon. Got it? So, I have told you this thing before as well. Like right now I do this. What is happening? Cells, they are falling down. Right? So inside our body, when I am breathing, you are breathing, your lungs, they are inflating and deflating. Inflating and deflating. So they are definitely, they will be rubbing against other organs around them, right? Rubbing against liver, which is near to it. Rubbing against heart. So because of that, there can be friction, right? And because of the friction, there can be damage to the not only lungs themselves, but to the other organs, to the liver, to the heart, right? And not only that, our rib cage also, the lungs will be brushing with the rib cage. Lungs will be brushing with this sheet of muscles which is called diaphragm, right? So there must be some protection, there must be some lubrication. You see, you put engine oil in the engine of the car, right? Why? To decrease the friction, so that the parts of the engine, they do not become wasted because of the friction, and also heat is not generated. You guys know this or not, right? So same way, Allah has provided this engine oil, right? This lubricant over here. So when the lungs, they will expand and recoil, they will inflate and deflate, the friction will decrease. Understood, everyone? Now, I'm stopping this lecture today over here, right? So